plaintiff, Kristen McCrae, was good friends with the defendant, but she has recently distanced herself because she's tired of the defendant's tall tales. Kristen claims the defendant once lied about Run DMC picking her up in a limo that belonged to Eddie Murphy. And today, Kristen is suing her for unpaid rent. Defendant Heidi Taylor says Kristen has a habit of choosing physically abusive men who cheat and use drugs, and Heidi thinks Kristen deserves better. Heidi insists she was paying her rent directly to the property owner and therefore doesn't owe Kristen, and she's countersuing for the costs associated with a plumbing issue.
Start with you.
I've known Heidi since about 1996. Around 2008, we became really close friends, to the point that my kids call her Aunt Heidi. Throughout the years, I've distanced myself from her from time to time because she tends to be a little bit dramatic and there's always something huge going on in her life. And she always tells big, crazy stories. One in particular, when she was a kid, she ran off to California and she was at a party and supposedly a limo came and picked her up and she hopped in the limo and it supposedly was Run DMC, and they took her shopping, took her around town, left her with the car. Later on that night, they got pulled over in the car and the police said, "Don't worry about it, it's Eddie Murphy's car and he does it all the time." So we just kind of smiled and nodded.
all the time?
Leaves
So
them.
how did you go from Run DMC to Eddie Murphy?
Exactly.
That's
He dropped her off at a party and left her with the car.
I want to hear it. She said, no,
Okay.
You're not telling me the whole story. What's the story?
I was younger. I did go to California when I was 19. I do have pictures to prove it. But yeah, we did meet Run DMC, hung out at a party. We did end up meeting Eddie Murphy. He rented us a car because me and my friend didn't have one.
Wow. I
There was
hang
like a big party.
Oh.
It was a big party.
Go ahead, ma'am. Go
We
ahead.
all just know that Heidi tells stories and we just kind of smile and nod and we love her and we know that's
well,
how
that
she
sounds
is.
entirely possible. They certainly have a lot of young ladies who come out to California and hook up with the stars the first time they see them, and then hook up with the next star when they see him.
I believe
and
that.
ride in their cars and in their limos. Go ahead, ma'am.
She used to be in a really abusive relationship and she left him, and ever since then she just kind of has been kind of irresponsible, like even with her kids, like they're always just kind of running amok. They steal from her. There's always something going on. They're now grown, but they still take advantage of her. And I think she's just trying to make up for them, you know, seeing her get beat up all the time.
All right, let me hear from you, ma'am.
So yeah, I met Chrissy quite a few years back. She through my sister. A little background, one thing about Chrissy is she tends to choose men who are abusive and cheat on her and who do drugs. I think Chrissy deserves way better than that, so it kind of breaks my heart. I was in an abusive relationship and I know what kind of damage it can cause to your children and to your self-esteem.
Okay.
I did, however, get out of that relationship. I went back to college. I actually graduated in 2013, 3 months before my mom died from breast cancer. She did ask to see me graduate, so that was a goal for us.
All right, tell me about the rent.
So I used to own a sixplex apartment and I sold it, and as a condition of the sale I had a 10-year lease for the front apartment, and I prepaid for the entirety of the lease $200 a month, leaving me with $300 a month to pay. I in turn sublet the apartment, and I sublet it to Heidi for $550 a month, and she moved in June of 2016, and she was paying her rent, not usually on time, but she would pay it, and in May she stopped paying me. So she paid, she got a hold of the owner of the building because I still have to pay the owner $300. So she got a hold of the owner of the building and started to pay him directly the $300 and just completely stopped paying me the other $250. So I'm suing for May, June, July, and August.
All right, ma'am. What do you say to this? She said you failed to pay what you owed her from May through August.
I did not pay her. I did go directly through the building owner. That is correct.
But you didn't have an agreement with him.
No, however, he did give me, him and Chrissy went to court. He won the apartment back. I did get a 3-day notice from the sheriff. They were putting my stuff out in 3 days. So I did pay him the rent so that I could stay there and the sheriff not put my stuff out.
That's actually not true.
And then
She paid me the rent that month. We did lose the eviction when she called me crying that the sheriff was going to put our stuff out. I immediately the next day went down and filed an appeal. It cost me $935 and I won the appeal.
When? When did you win the appeal?
That was in May.
So
I didn't find out that I won it until June though.
All right.
But in May she did give me.
So you had rights to it from May through August.
Yeah, I've never.
All right. Do
rights
you
to it.
contest she didn't have rights to the residence?
She did eventually win, yes.
All right. You were about to leave that little part out.
No, I was gonna.
So why
I was gonna
haven't
leave
you
that
paid?
out.
Well, let's go back. Why haven't you paid her from May through August?
May was when he gave me the 3-day notice for the sheriff to put my stuff out. The property
Did you stay
owner.
May?
I did.
All right, so let's start with where you the months you stayed. You stayed the month of May. All this eviction, we didn't get past that. That's appeal, loss, over.
Yep.
May, June, July, August. Why haven't you paid those to the person you had a sublease with? That's who you owed, her.
I paid the property owner because
Okay,
that's
you
what my
paid the
lawyer
wrong
told me to do.
person. Your counterclaim for $630 for a plumbing issue. How does she owe you for that?
So, can I back up a minute for August rent? Because I moved out on August 7th. I gave her a 30-day notice. She told me
When
June.
did you give her the 30-day notice?
On July 3rd, she
Okay.
asked me, she said she had the apartment rented. She needed to know when I moved out. I text her back and said, I'll be out the first week of August, and I have that here.
All right, ma'am, is that true?
She had said a couple of times that she was going
it,
to be
please.
out. So I don't, one
No,
of the
she said
times
she gave you a 30-day notice telling you on
She gave
July
me
3rd.
in writing on the 29th of July that she would be out by August 7th.
And then on the 29th of July,
You
when
just
I.
told me it was July 3rd,
It
ma'am.
is. It's right there on the text message, sir.
Did you get my text? This is from her. When you said you were moving, I had to find someone to move in. I need a date to give them for move-in key. I was going to pay the rent this month and be out by the 1st. My whole house, I need a copy of my lease. And what was your response, ma'am?
Well, that was when I called her on the phone. And she has told me before that she was going to be out by the 1st. So
Yeah, because this
can't-
was a response to her question, ma'am, about her needing her keys. This wasn't you giving her a formal notice that I'm moving
I have
as
the formal
is
notice.
required. What is that?
This is the one she sent me on July 29th that
There you
said
go.
she'd be out.
This is a formal notice, ma'am, not a conversation. I'm sending notice to both parties. And this was signed. This is what you do, ma'am. And that I will be completely out on August 7th. Where do I see the date, though?
The date is not on there.
Well, then how do I know it was July 29th?
I don't think that she would contest. She sent it to me the day after we went to eviction court.
When did you send this?
I sent it the day after eviction court. It was towards the end of July.
We had
Okay.
eviction court on July 28th. I got it on July 29th.
My lawyer
All
told
right,
me
man.
to
Well,
go
you didn't
ahead
give a 30-day notice. All right. And how does she owe you for the plumbing once again?
So on July 3rd, I had a sewer backup, which I have pictures for, that flooded my house. I couldn't get her or Eric to help me with that.
You notified her?
Yes, I did.
Let's see it, please, Dora.
I texted her, which I think you
the
already
same
have,
text?
asking her what was up with the rent, yada, yada, yada. She texted me back that her apartment flooded and that she needed the copy of the lease. So I then immediately called her and I'm like, what's going on? She said, the toilet overflowed. I've already called the owner. He says he's gonna fix it. I said, okay, keep me posted. The next day is the 4th of July. I'm having a party. I've got like 50 people in my backyard. It's the 4th of July. I see her walking by with her grandson. She looks distraught. So I go out there. I'm like, what's going on? She says, he came, he took the toilet off, and he left. He hasn't fixed it yet. I said, well, keep me posted. Let me know what's going on. I then continued to text her, asking her what was going on with the toilet, and she would not reply.
Look, I'm at work. I didn't say I wasn't going to pay you. I got to move storage.
That's about the money that she owes me. The second page is about the toilet.
You don't want to talk about the money she
Oh,
owes
yeah,
you?
okay, yeah.
I think that's a little more important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would have switched issues immediately. Yeah, Your Honor, that's what I'm really here to talk about. I'll give it to him, and then I'll find a way to get you your $250 for this month.
And last.
You agreed to give her the $250.
I did.
Man. So why are we going through all this? Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank
Your
you.
claim is dismissed.
I don't know, it's Heidi. We've fallen out before, and we usually make up again. I'm just kind of used to it. She'll need something eventually.